Hello and welcome back to the channel. Just a quick video today, because this morning, well, about 5 hours ago, at the time of recording this video, so you should have this video, maybe an hour after it's recorded. So about let's say maybe 6 hours ago, at the time you are watching this, if you're watching it when it came out, which you're probably not, ignore this part. 1167 has been announced for Friday, June 7th. It will be live at the Impact Arena in Bangkok, Thailand, and we have got two title fights topping the card, and I think a lot of people are going to be excited for this one. Certainly more excited than the next fight night. We have one fight night 21, and yeah, well, I mean, this is a numbered card, right? This is one of the big ones. And it's also outside of Lumpini, so it's a big deal, right? And so it's probably not fair to compare it to the fight night cards, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think this was worth quickly chatting about at very least. If you are wondering what I think about One Fight Night 21, you probably you might have seen rather on this channel that I recently featured this week on Nick Atkins' One on SK live podcast. We did a chat together on Wednesday. I write for Sportskeeda. He does work for Sportskeeda, so it felt like something that we should probably do at some point. And he has been on this very channel before, where we spoke about One Fight Night 19. So yeah, go check that out. You can catch the replay of that. I'm not sure if we're doing it again next week, but I hope so. That would be cool to do. So yeah, go subscribe. I believe it's the Sportskeeda MMA Originals channel that you need to go to for that. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about 1167. So here is the official announcement. 1167, June 7th. Stamp Fairtex makes her first one atomweight MMA world title defense against the number 2 ranked contender and former training partner Denise Samboanga. Plus, striking superstar Tawanchai squares off with Smoking Joe Natwa in a heated rematch, this time with his one featherweight Muay Thai world title on the line. So you've got Stamp and Tawanchai at the top of this card, which I think is very, very smart. I think both of these fights are good. Are they, potentially the dream matchups that I would pick out in this division? I would say Stamp versus Denise is probably the best fight you can do there. And Tawanchai versus Smoking Joe. Big fan of Smoking Joe. Um, yeah, it's a good fight. It's a good fight, right? Obviously, does it feel as huge as him versus Super Bond, right? I mean, not that I'm not saying we should do that again, but you know what I mean? So maybe it feels a little bit of a step down from there, but it's still a good fight. Let's talk about this main event. Let me pull up. What are we doing? Let's pull up the one website really quick. Pull up Denise. So Denise versus Stamp. Of course, this fight is interesting because they are training partners together. However, they've spoken a lot about how they are happy to face each other when the time comes. This fight was, of course, supposed to go down in Qatar for 1166. I'm not entirely sure why it got pushed back. I would imagine it's because they want to hit a certain amount of these big numbered cards. And when I say numbered cards, I know that technically the one fight night events are kind of number card, but you know what I mean? Not fight night. This is just 1167, just like we had 1166 in Qatar, 1165 in Japan. It kind of feels like maybe that's the difference that they're using now. So for example, when we go to America later this year, that will be 1168 or 9. And the fight nights are at Lumpini. That would be my guess. I don't believe we've had a fight night. We haven't had a fight night outside of Lumpini this year, have we? No, 21 is there as well. So maybe that's what the differential is that's being used. Denise is coming off of back-to-back wins. She did lose 2 fights against Ham Seo-hee, who, of course, Stamp beat at One Fight Night 14 to win it was the interim atomweight title, and then Angela Lee retired on the same night. So it became the full world title. But she bounced back from those 2 losses, wins over Lin Hakin and Julie Mezababa. The win over Mezababa in particular, she looked very, very good. Her striking looked better, I think. That is potentially a result of working alongside Stamp for the last, I'm not too sure how long they've been working together now, but it's been a good while. So, yeah, good stuff. I think this fight is interesting. I would expect Stamp to come through it, to be honest, but I'm still interested in seeing this one. I think it makes a lot of sense, and you got that story there with, of course, them being training partners, and I imagine they will go back to being training partners after this fight, so that adds a little bit of extra intrigue. And then the co-main event, as I said, Tawanchai coming off of that win over Superbon. I apologize that that's probably going to be really loud in my microphone because my keyboard is extremely loud. Um, yeah, you got Superbon coming off of that win over. Sorry, mind is scattered. Superbon's fighting very soon. I'm very excited for that fight with Marat Grigorian. That should be fantastic. April 5th. I'll definitely have a video out about that next week. So stay tuned for that. But until then, Superbon's previous opponent, Tawanchai, is lined up for. Was it June 7th? Is it? Yeah, June 7th against Smoking Joe Natwa. This is, of course, a rematch of their first fight from One Fight Night 15 last October. That was a kickboxing bout. As you will know, Tawanchai was crossing over and doing a bit of kickboxing in between title defenses. I believe he had two. Did he have two in a row? He had, was it David Courier that he beat? And then he fought Smoking Joe, and then had the Super Bomb fight. And the fight with Smoking Joe was extremely close. I know that it was a unanimous decision, but I know a lot of people felt like Smoking Joe did enough to win that fight. I mean, you look at, when we talk a lot in these fight night previews and stuff about people who maybe don't have the best win records in one championship, but when you look at the names they fought, it's like, oh geez, they haven't been not been getting easy fights. I mean, you look at this, like, you know, all right, he had a good start to life. I mean, lost his debut against Giorgio Petrosian, so that says it all. But then, good run there. Lost to Petrosian again. It happens. But then lost to Chingiz Alazov. Might be the best striker in the world today. Definitely up there in that list. Jamal Yusupov, title challenger, Tawanchai champion, and then he beat Lisi in an incredible fight. An absolute banger of a fight. And I think Luke is, he got that win over Eddie Abasolo last time out. I think Luke's really, really good. So that's another, very, very tough fight. And it was a war as well. So, yeah, I think this fight makes a lot of sense. That kickboxing bout was very close. Would I have rather seen this fight run back as a kickboxing rematch? I just feel like there would be a little bit more it's not fair to say at stake because of course this is a title fight. Tawanchai's featherweight Muay Thai world championship on the line here, but I am interested to see this development of Tawanchai in kickboxing. Maybe Joe Natale was a step too far too soon, so I understand maybe they're not running it back in kickboxing, they're doing Muay Thai instead, but you um I was just interested to see how he would have approached a rematch. I didn't think we were going to get a rematch because he won that fight and it was very close. And I thought we would probably move him on to something else. But I did say in that chat with Nick that in terms of dream fights for Tao and Chai, I think the kickboxing names that are out there are kind of the bigger draws. So I would like to see him matched up with a few of those guys, but not yet because, like I said, that fight with Joe Nat was very close. I don't want to see him chucked in there, in kickboxing against a Superbon or a Gregorian or a Sichachai or something like that. So a little bit of time needed, I think. I would expect Tawanchai to get his hand raised here. I know that he has beaten Joe Natale before, but that was a very close fight. But it was in kickboxing. I would expect him to do a lot better against Joe Natale in Muay Thai. So, yeah, I'm expecting wins for Stamp and Tawanchai on this card. And but I'm excited. I think that's a cool event to have those two names on it at the top. I'm sure we'll get some other very, very good fights on this card, considering that it is a numbered event. You look at 1165. All right, the fights maybe didn't deliver, but the card itself was very good, I thought. And then 1166 again, fights didn't really deliver that much, unfortunately. But in terms of what you want for that card, three title fights, all right, they were rematches, and maybe not all of them were rematches we needed to see, to be honest. But three MMA world title fights. I'm not going to complain at that because they don't come around too often. So you've got to take them when you can. And we have another MMA world title fight coming up with Stamp and Denise. So what do you guys think about this card? Are you excited for this one? Who else do you think is going to be on this card? Right, I just said they'll probably add some other big names on here. So who would you like to see? predictions for Stamp and Tawanchai. Do you think we will hear and new at any point in this night? I would be surprised if we do personally, but as I said, that doesn't mean I'm not excited for this card. I think it will be a fun one. Thank you for checking out this video. Make sure you hit subscribe. As I said, videos coming up. It's going to be a busy couple of weeks because we of course have that big double header. One Friday fights 58, which is a banger of a card. 2 title fights at the top of that one, and then you've got one fight night 21, which is a little bit not as good, to be honest. But, you know, we'll still talk about it as we always do. So stay tuned for that. Drop a like on this video, hit subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you very, very